shit, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 opens up this Friday, so you know what we're going to be talking about, right? Definitely not that, so we're going to be doing superhero sequels. Hello everyone, I am Chase Lee, one of your co-hosts for the Top 5 Saturdays Live podcast, and on this week's episode, Brian and I will take a look at the superhero sequels that will dominate the franchise, one per franchise, and we will make our top 5 list accordingly. It's going to be a lot of fun. What will we pick? I have no clue. You'll have to tune in and find out. Here we go, let's begin the episode right now. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live with me, Chase Lee, and my co-host,
Brian Sutfield.
That's fucking right. And hey, listen guys, if you're new to the show, welcome. What we do on this show, this podcast in particular, we take a look at the movies coming out on Friday. We will pick a movie and we will honor said movie by, picking out an actor, actress, director, genre, what have you, and we will make our top 5 list according as such. The cool thing about this show, if you are new, once again, welcome. Hopefully I didn't scare you off too much. The cool thing is, it's live, so we have no idea what the hell's going to happen. I mean, hell, there could be something, random. Just anyone could say anything randomly, like hobble knocker, cock goblin. I have no clue. You see, that was random. And we don't know each other's lists, so that's what makes it all the more fun. But we have the same group of people that listen to this show every single week, so we appreciate it for sure. Brian, how are we doing this week?
This week is fantastic. Chase, is the last week of freshman year of college, which is fucking insane. I'm excited to finally get the hell out of here and move back home. It went so fucking fast. Holy shit. My first final is on Monday, which is great because I have all this time to either sleep, study, or just, that's it. But I'm doing pretty fucking great. How are you?
It's I've seen better weeks. Let's just put it to you guys this way. If if it doesn't get better, I might have to end podcast in general for a while. So, but we'll get to that point when the apocalypse comes. But until then, we will continue on as such. But it's the thing is, even though I have these bad weeks and what's not, because I don't want to get you guys into the drama, but. What's really cool about my week is doing this for you guys. The same crazy group of 20 people that listen to this show. We appreciate it, and you guys definitely brighten up my week. So, speaking of that, Brian, what the fuck are we doing this week?
This week, in honor of the tiniest movie ever called Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, we are going to be doing our top 5 superhero sequels.
Yes, and I was thinking about this before we started recording. Brian and I are probably going to have the same picks. I mean, it's just the way it's going to go. It depends. It's going to matter on how we're going to kind of arrange them in order, but we're generally going to have the same picks. And that's not to say there's not going to be any diversity on this show. The thing is, the same superhero sequels that have been regarded, from critics and fans are typically the same 5 or 6, so it's not going to be anything surprising for this episode, but I'm very interested to see, what Brian is feeling. Is he going to put a Batman film up there? He's going to put a Marvel film up there? He's going to put another DC film? I have no clue. That's the cool thing about it, so, yeah, I'm excited to talk about it. You guys know my thing, the superheroes. That's my genre. That's my go-to, Star Wars is for some. Comic book movies are mine. I'm really excited to see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I see it Sunday morning. And I'm excited to see the 500 end credit scenes. So, Brian, I have to ask you before we begin. I know that sequels get a bad rap sometimes. Sometimes, they are better than the first one. But for the most part, they don't match up to the first one. They're a little under par. When you hear about a sequel and the first one's good, do you get nervous that they're going to kind of ruin the momentum of the first one and the second one's just going to be kind of subpar? Or do you have more higher expectations if the first one is awesome than you go into the second one thinking it's awesome?
Well, it all depends. If a movie has a clear cut and then no, I don't need a sequel. It all depends. It really does. Like, if the first one is monumentally incredible, then yeah, I would be hyped down my first sequel. But if the movie ain't good, I would not care. And with most of these superhero sequels, like, their predecessors are either good or great. And some of these sequels are vastly superior than their originals. So it always depends. Like, every time I hear about all these upcoming superhero sequels, I'm curious. Like, sometimes I'm like, oh, fuck yes. And then other times I'm like, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. So, yeah, those are really my takes on superhero sequels. Have most of them been good? Lately, yes. Some of them are not. But for the most part, they're pretty solid, in my personal opinion. So, yeah, I'm curious to know what we're going to put on the list. It could be diverse. It could be similar. But like we always say, who the hell knows how our list is going to turn out? Because 9 times out of 10, we're right. But then the other 1 out of 10, we're not. So, yeah.
Yeah, that 1 out of 10 that he's talking about is when we're so vastly different, I just kind of shake my head and go, yeah, we are not on the same wavelength for this one. But I have a feeling that we'll be the same primarily on all these picks. But superhero sequels, you're right. Most of them nowadays are getting really good. Like, they're actually getting to a point now where, like, you kind of forget about the first one. You're like, damn, that sequel was so good. And I like the other ones, but it's just, there was just something so rich and amazing about this one. Now, the rule is, for this episode, 1 per franchise. And now, I almost had to ask Brian what the rules were for X-Men. Because there are several different types of, like, trilogies and franchises. I took it as 1 for the entire fucking thing. So besides the first X-Men, you pick 1 out of everything. I'm talking, prequel trilogy. I'm talking spin-offs. 1 per franchise. And that goes with, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Well, I mean, not Marvel Cinematic, but more of like, 1 for like, each character. So like if a character's got a trilogy or whatever, you can only pick one of the movies and you can't have another one on there. That's the way I took it. So yeah, I kind of went all over the place, but I literally have 1 per franchise. That is my defining sequel per one. So we just want to let you guys know the rules for this one. So, all right, let's begin. Without any further ado, Brian, I have to ask you the coveted question every single week.
Mm-hmm.
What is your number 5 favorite superhero sequel of all time, ... so far?
My number 5, I'm going with one of 2 Batman movies. And, yes, they're different Batmen, to be exact. My first one is Batman Returns.
Okay, see, I took it... Now, you can do that, because that actually applies within your rule, but the rule I wanted to do was 1 per franchise / character. So,
okay,
if I pick a Batman film later on my list, I literally just pick 1 out of all the incarnations of Batman. So yeah, that's the way I took it. But you can totally do that because you're right. It's a different franchise from what you're describing. So listen, Batman Returns is not on my list. I wanted to put it on there, but I hadn't seen that movie in so long, and I saw Batman and Batman Returns double feature last year, and it was absolutely amazing. It was like 4 hours of pure Michael Keaton, Tim Burton weirdness and bliss. It was beautiful. But yeah, I absolutely love Batman Returns. It's so weird and kooky. It's actually really dark and terrifying. And Danny DeVito as the Penguin will always haunt your nightmares. So, Brian, explain away why Batman Returns has made the cut.
To me, it's crazy to believe, like, and I was looking this up before I made the list, Tim Burton has never done a sequel. Like, this is the only sequel he's directed. Like, people think he directed Alice Through the Looking Glass. He didn't direct that. He didn't direct any other sequels. This is the straight-up only sequel he has done so far. If Beetlejuice 2 happens, which I hope to God it does, make it happen. Batman Returns is not as good as the first, but it's still a lot of fun. Takes place around Christmas. You got a lot of cool characters introduced, such as the Penguin, played brilliantly by Danny DeVito. You got Max Schreck, I think that's his name, played by the always brilliant Christopher Walken. And then, of course, when I saw this movie, I was like 10 or 11 years old. I think I might have experienced puberty or reached puberty when I saw Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, because Michelle Pfeiffer, believe it or not, she was great. Look, she was is absolutely stunning back then. But to be quite honest with you guys, she's still just as sexy as she was back in the 90s. And that's an opinionated answer, but you know what? She's really good. Fireworks. I just saw fireworks behind me. That's crazy. My room, this is off topic, my room has a great view of New York City, so I just saw fireworks from like the Freedom Tower, so that's fucking lit. Anyways, Batman Returns. It's a lot of fun. It's great action, beautiful sets. Danny Elfman's score, once again, brilliant. And I like how this is more depressing and darker than than the first one. Even though it wasn't as well executed as the first, I still found it really cool that it was darker and, more depressing than the first. So, I thought it worked. A lot of people apparently weren't fans of that. I thought it was really well done. And for a sequel, while not standing on the same level as the original, I thought it was a pretty good sequel. And Tim Burton actually didn't want to direct this at first because he only wanted to do one Batman movie. Just one. And then he decided, okay, I'll give it a chance. And the reason why is because the first one, he didn't really have as much creative control. But this one, they gave him more creative control. And he was like, oh, sure, I'll come back. And he did it. And it was pretty fucking good. And I love Michael Keaton as Batman. It sucks that we couldn't see him play the character again. But you know what? Every other person that's played Batman, they've done well. So, yeah, Batman Returns, pretty fucking good sequel. It's my number 5.
If you guys really think about it, Tim Burton is responsible for creating Batman and Robin. Because for Batman Returns, Brian's right. He had full creative control, and when the end product came out, Warner Bros. Was like, holy shit, like, the first one was, like, semi-kid-friendly. This is, like, going overboard to a point where, like, you can't show kids any of this. So that's why they made it, like, more kind of, like, fun and energetic, and that's why they hired Joel Schumacher to do Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. So Tim Burton's responsible for the shift in tone for sure, because they let him kind of do whatever. But yeah, it's a great pick, just not on my list. But my number 5, because my top 4 are probably going to be on Brian's list. Like, we're probably going to have the same one. So I figure number 5 is going to be the different one. And I wanted to kind of point out this sequel because I actually really enjoy it. And I think it gets a lot more hate than it deserves. Now, I do have kind of like one, not issue with it, but more of like, it was missing something, and I know why it was, and it's not, the film's fault. It's just, life. My number 5 pick is Kick-Ass 2. I really like the sequel, and I don't care. I don't care what people say about it. I enjoy the camaraderie between everyone. I love this kind of like ragtag group of like vigilante heroes, led by Jim Carrey and stuff. I liked his character. I liked all the characters. I love the graphic novel style. It's very very bloody, over the top. It's super stylized. It's got the raunchy humor to it. It's a great follow up to the first one. And I want to see that Kick-Ass 3 because it leaves it off on a really great cliffhanger. The problem is, and this is my issue with it, the magic is kind of gone because Hit Girl is older. And I know that it's kind of like a weird thing to kind of look at, but the first one, it was appealing because she was 9 years old. And, she had that kind of father relationship with Nicolas Cage. And, it's very charming to see her kind of curse and shoot guns. The problem is, in the sequel, Nicolas Cage is gone. Because, spoiler alert, he died in the first one. And second, she's older now. So she's got more of like an angsty teenage feel. So when she curses and shoots guns, it's like, okay, like she's older now. So it actually kind of fits her. That kind of charm lost me a little bit in the sequel, but other than that, I still liked it. I still liked the look of it. I liked the tone of it, because like I said, when it's a graphic novel, it's supposed to be a little bit over the top. It's supposed to be, a little bit extravagant with the, the colors and just the way it looks and whatnot. I like it. I like everything that Mark Millar, has touched in terms of adaptations from his work, and that includes the Kick-Ass sequel. I like it quite a bit. I'm not saying it's the best movie ever, but I do enjoy it quite a bit as a follow-up to the first one, and I really wish to make the third one. The second one didn't make that much money, so they're not going to, and Aaron Taylor Johnson's moving on to bigger and better things, so is Chloe Grace Moretz, and Christopher Mintz-Plaza is not really doing anything, so give him a job. But, everyone else has kind of moved on. I get it. I want to see a third one. Ain't going to happen. That's my number 5. Brian, you kind of groaned a little bit. It looked like you kind of threw up your lunch a little bit. So can you explain to me why you do not care for this?
It disappointed me vastly. Like, I was so hyped up. Like, when I first saw it, I was like, it was okay. It wasn't bad. And I guess you're right. It misses the magic. Like, that's the biggest issue for me. Like, I understand why they made the movie. The first one was a critical and commercial success. And you know what? Matthew Vaughn did make a bad decision by not coming back to do this. And, in my personal opinion, I was talking with one of my fellow film majors about this. The reason why, and I mean, this may be a stupid reason, the reason why he's probably doing Kingsman 2 is to, satisfy the fans of the first Kick-Ass and satisfy the haters of Kick-Ass 2, because the reason why Kick-Ass 2 wasn't really that strong was because he wasn't directed. Now, I'm not saying it was a poorly directed movie. It just, in my opinion, it didn't have the magic of the first film, which is sad. And I've read the graphic novels, and not saying it wasn't a faithful adaptation. It just didn't live up to the love of the first film. And there are good things about the movie. Like, I liked the group that they all formed. I loved Jim Carrey in the movie. I just hate that he wasn't in the movie that much. And, to be honest, from what I remember of the graphic novel, he wasn't in the graphic novel that much either. And I agree with you on the hit girl thing. The fact that she's older, I don't know. It didn't really work that well for me. Like, it didn't work. Like, a little kid doing it is awesome. But when a teenage girl, like, around my age does it, I'm like, yeah, well, whatever. But no, I want Kick-Ass 3 as well, because I actually loved the ending of this movie. I thought the ending was fantastic. So... Yeah, Kick-Ass 2, not the worst superhero sequel ever, but it was just a letdown for me. For me, it would be like a C minus movie for me. So it's not terrible, but compared to the first one, it's a gigantic letdown.
I mean, that's understandable. Like, everyone, like I said, doesn't really care for it. But I'm kind of with you, because I went to a pawn store. I think it was like a year ago, 2 years ago. And sometimes they have comics, like, laying around, and you can, like, they're usually like 50 cents to $1. I found Kick-Ass 3. Like the first issue of that, and it was a great kind of like I imagine like that's what the third one would be like. Like, it was a great continuation. I was like, holy shit, this is riveting. Like, I wish they would really make it, but they're not going to. It didn't make enough money, but whatever. We move on. So, all right, what do you got at your number 4?
Number 4, I'm going with a Captain America movie, and to be quite honest, while this isn't my favorite one in the franchise, this movie was a vastly superior movie compared to the first one. That's Winter Soldier. And as good as I love Civil War, and I talk with my friends about this all the time, Guardians of the Galaxy is my personal favorite MCU movie. But Civil War is the best thing they've ever done. And Winter Soldier is right under there. Because the first Captain America movie was like a nice little war movie, like a World War II type of movie, like a fun World War II movie. This one is a spy espionage thriller. And I did not expect that going into this movie, because when I heard about the movie, I was like, okay, I like the first Captain America. I'm sure this one will be cool too. I looked into like what the Winter Soldier was and everything. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. When they announced Anthony and Joe Russo were directed, I'm like, well, let's hope for the best. The trailers came out, it looked good, and the movie was better than I expected it to be because of the spy espionage tone. I love the political thriller aspect of this movie. I love the spy feeling of it. It felt like James Bond of sorts meets like Captain America. Like, it felt great. And Jason Bourne elements, it was awesome. And since I'm such a huge spy film fanatic, like, that's kind of why I really appreciate the Winter Soldier a lot. And the twist and the whole revelation of Hydra, like, this is where it all began. And then Robert Redford, great villain, and you got more of Steve Rogers and like how he just doesn't know how to fit in with the world, and then Black Widow, and then the revelation of the Winter Soldier being Bucky. Spoiler, oops, sue me. It's all great. It's all fantastically handled stuff, but it's not my favorite MCU movie. Like, I understand why everyone's like, oh, it's the best MCU movie ever. But let's be honest, it's kind of not. But it's different compared to any of the MCU movies I think ever made. So, yeah, Winter Soldier's my number 4.
Yeah, this one's not on my list. I think you know which one I went with. But
yeah, I know.
The thing is, like, with Winter Soldier, it kind of did something new for the MCU as a whole, because when you talk about the first one's a good movie. I actually like the first one quite a bit, and it feels like a comic book movie. What this one did was kind of transcend genres and to, like what you said, like this awesome action espionage spy thriller that had elements of like a Jason Bourne and like had that like awesome handheld kind of grit to its action sequences, and it felt like it was real. I never felt like I was watching like choreography or staged anything. It was really well handled when it came to the kind of the hand-to-hand combat, because this is what Captain America is. He's just a strong dude with a shield. Most of his fighting techniques are going to be very hand-to-hand, so you have to make that kind of riveting and exciting, and that's what this movie did. It really brought the whole franchise to like an excitement level that we really have never seen before in this universe, and that includes the Iron Man films, the Thor films, and Incredible Hulk. This was the first time where we're like, wow, this is actually like a really good movie. It's not just a good comic movie, it's just a good movie. And you're right, I really like the twist in it. I really like the fact that Captain America's world has come crashing down. Like, this is a man out of time. So he's already confused as is. So when everything you knew and loved and trusted comes falling apart at the seams right before you, that's devastating for anyone. So the fact that it was its second one and left on such a kind of devastating like ending like that, and you had no idea where they were going to take it, it kind of blew your mind. And I still remember like, holy shit, was that a good month of comic book movies, because this was the same year that X-Men Days of Future Past came out. It literally came out like a month later, and it was the most glorious month of comic book movies, and it kind of just showed everyone that they could reach this kind of caliber of filmmaking. And speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy, that also came out the same summer. So 2014 was a great summer for sure, and Captain America Winter Soldier kicked off. Not my pick, but I think you guys know where I'm going to go with it. But my number 4, I was thinking about it, and I was looking at my list, and I was like, well, I'm not like a huge fan of these films, but I can acknowledge that at least one of them is worthy of making this list. I know it's like a cliche answer because it's mostly on everyone's list, but out of the whole franchise that they've done so far, besides the one we're about to get in a couple months, Spider-Man 2 is definitely one to be remembered for sure. Spider-Man's not my favorite character, but I enjoyed watching the films with him when I'm mixed. I'm super excited for Homecoming. But with Spider-Man 2, it was a great follow-up to a very solid first one. I liked the first one quite a bit, but when you look back on it now, 15 years later, it is kind of cheesy and corny, and the fight between Green Goblin is pretty hokey, and Green Goblin looks like he just exited Party City after a drunk night or something. So when you follow up from that basically. And the first one crushed at the box office. A lot of critics liked it. A lot of fans enjoyed it. The sequel had a lot to live up to. And I think the sequel delivered it in spades. When you talk about the advancement in the story and the relationship between like Peter Parker and Mary Jane, and you have a more threatening villain in Doc Ock and not in Green Goblin. There's a lot more stakes to be had in terms of like with Aunt May, and the action sequences were well done. I still remember the train sequence to this day, like watching it in theaters with Spider-Man fighting Doc Ock on the bullet train or whatever it's called. It was just great to watch, and it gets your heart excited. You're just like, wow, this is really awesome to watch. Spider-Man kicking ass and taking on this creature that looked a little bit more threatening and more powerful than the Green Goblin. It's just a really well done sequel. It's perfect in advancement in story and characters. The action sequences were kind of advanced. It's just a well done movie. Like I said, not the biggest fan of the whole franchise, but I can't deny myself and forget about the experience I had while watching Spider-Man 2 in the theater, and of course bringing it to DVD and rewatching it. It still holds up. So that is my number 4.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass.
Oh shit. Okay, well that makes a lot of sense to me since Brian is from the East Coast, in the East, like
and
Spider-Man.
New York is right behind me as we speak. It's right behind me.
So, yeah, basically, Spider-Man is like New York's little god. So, like, I get that. So, I should have known better that you would pass. So, all right. So, moving on to your. Okay. So, what's interesting? Okay, I'm gonna make a bold prediction right now. I can't tell whether Spider-Man is your next one or if it's your number 2, because I think we have the same number 1. And your next 2 should be... One of them should be the same as mine as well. So I'm not really sure on which kind of route you went with. So, Brian, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is indeed Spider-Man 2.
Okay, so I know what your second one is, and I know what your first one is. And I think we have the same first one. So, all right.
Yeah.
Explain away.
All right, Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man, when I was a little kid, Spider-Man was my favorite superhero. He was absolutely my favorite one. I would read the comics all the time. I would watch these movies a lot, these 3 Raimi films. And you know what? I'm going to disclose this right now. And if you guys want to fucking kill me, go ahead, fucking kill me. I think Spider-Man 3 is not a bad movie, okay? The end, case closed. Spider-Man 2 is an incredible sequel, and I remember when I started getting into filmmaking and everything, and I was watching these films, from a filmmaker standpoint, I just was so, in shock by how vastly different this was compared to the first one, because I'll have to agree with Chase. The first one is kind of goofy. The fight sequences with Green Goblin are, they're good, but they're kind of cheesy and everything. And, he does look like he just came out from, Party City or Halloween City or whatever those Halloween stores are. And, as fantastic as William Dafoe was as that character, the best villain easily in this Spider-Man franchise was definitely Alfred Molina's Doc Ock. When you watch the movie and you're introduced to Doc Ock, he's an awesome guy. He's so sincere. He's one of Peter Parker's idols. And, that whole incident happens, and it's really sad. And Doc Ock is an emotionally layered character. He's doing what he does, and, you could tell that he does like to do it, but at the same time, he hates doing what he's doing. He hates it. That's why at the end of the movie, I'm not going to spoil it, even though the movie's 13 years old, he does what he does, and, he sinks himself to the bottom of the ocean, to save the city. That's a great villain. And
there's more depth to Doc Ock than, Harry Osborn. So, not Harry, excuse me, Norman. So, I just thought, there was definitely a lot more subtle depth to, Alfred Molina, is that correct? His performance than Willem Dafoe. And I like both actors. It's just I agree with you that just when that's what he did at the end, it's like, oh, that's what a villain is when he is terrifying, but at the same time as an audience member you can sympathize with them. So yeah, exactly. Those are the best kinds of villains for sure. And then speaking of Harry Osborn, the drama between him and Peter is really also heartbreaking because as you guys remember in the first film, Harry witnesses Spider-Man killing, or not necessarily killing, bringing back his father's body, and then he's like, oh God, I must kill Spider-Man. And then he knows, when he finds out that Peter's Spider-Man, it's really sad because, that's his best friend, and he assumes that his best friend's the guy that killed his father, which he did kill his father, but not, in that way. And the relationship between Peter and Mary Jane is stronger here. The visuals are incredible. All the action sequences are fantastic. The train sequence, everybody praises. That's one of the best scenes in a superhero movie ever. That's an incredible sequence. And, when his mask is taken off and everyone's like, oh, he's just a kid, no older than my son. That's a really subtle scene. And Danny Elfman's score, fantastic. The cinematography, wonderful. Spider-Man 2 is just an excellent movie. It's not the best film that Sam Raimi has directed because I didn't tell Chase this. A few months ago, I finally saw Evil Dead 2, and that is my favorite thing that Sam Raimi has directed so far. Haven't seen Army of Darkness. I plan on watching it soon. But so far, Evil Dead 2 and Spider-Man 2 are my favorite things that Raimi has directed. So, yeah, Spider-Man 2, fantastic. That's my number 3. A few things. One, fucking finally, Evil Dead 2 is one of the best horror movies, whatever you want to call it, ever made. It is absolutely delightful. It is a literal repeat of the first one, and I like the first one for what it is, but the second one, it found its footing and it found its tone that is what is made famous today with, like, you know, Ash vs. Evil Dead and the show with that, which is a great show, by the way. If you guys have Stars, please watch it. But second thing, liking Spider-Man 3 is not a bad thing. Fucking Joel, my co-host on my podcast, the guy fucking loves Spider-Man 3. So, like, I know Spider-Man 3's got its fan base. I'm not, you know, it's whatever to me, but and then finally, the bullet train sequence. That's actually not my favorite bullet train sequence in a comic book movie. My favorite one, this is not even on the list, but I really love this sequence, is in the Wolverine. Because, like, if you guys are a film major or a filmmaker, that scene will make you have a hard-on. The sound design...
It made me have a hard-on, I can tell you that.
It was beautiful, you know, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine look. But, no, when he's fighting the person going that fast, the green screen was immaculate. I couldn't even tell it was a green screen. The sound design was absolutely flawless, because when you're going that fast, you're not going to hear anything. You're just going to hear, like, this wind tunnel kind of come at you, and then when you're passing, like, an object, you know, go left or right like that. It's so brilliantly choreographed and sound designed to where every time I watch it, I still feel like Hugh Jackman's actually on this train going 100 miles an hour. It's really well done. It's my favorite, I guess, bullet train sequence in a comic book movie. But yeah, so no, it's a good pick for sure. I mean, obviously, I had it on my last one, so I definitely am like 100% positive on what your number 2 and number 1 is. But to get to my number, wait, did I go already?
No.
Wait, you just said your number 3. Okay, so yeah. I do my number 2, right? Or no, I do my number 3. Oh my, guys, it's been a long fucking week. I apologize. All right, my number 3. This is gonna make a lot of people mad. Just bear with me. Just bear with me. My number 3. I will put basically the one that everyone regards as the best Batman film of all time. I'm doing The Dark Knight. My other 2, I just have a deeper connection to. Now, I love Batman quite a bit, but it is not my favorite superhero character. It just isn't. But I cannot deny that The Dark Knight is a really well done film. Like, when you think about the beautiful, dark cinematography from Wally Pfister, the excellent direction, and the action sequences, you know, from Christopher Nolan, it's a really well done film. And, you know, Christian Bale, he's not my favorite Batman. I still think Ben Affleck is the best Batman on screen, even though he's in subpar movies to people, even though I like BVS, The Ultimate Cut. But Christian Bale still does a great job in the role. I love just the stakes in this one versus the first one. The first one is a great setup film with Scarecrow being his foe. And, of course, we got Joker, Heath Ledger, won the Oscar for it. It's a downright terrifying performance. He's oddly lovable, but you also want to kill him because he's fucking psychotic. But at the same time, you know, Batman's creed is that he doesn't kill people. So he has this back and forth with Joker. They're basically the same person on different sides of the coin. So you have that. It's just oh my God. Like, every time when you think about The Dark Knight, what's the first thing you think of? Hans Zimmer's beautiful, epic, heart-pounding score. Dun, 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 dun. Like, it's just, he pretty much, like, came to play and really kind of show people a different style of music that you can put with these types of superhero films. It felt epic. It fit this type of world that Christopher Nolan was trying to adapt. And I like The Dark Knight Rises quite a bit, but it's a good trilogy. But let's not kid ourselves. The Dark Knight is kind of the pinnacle. And you could say it's Heath Ledger's movie. I mean, he's a great villain, but you also have to have a good hero as well. And when you have that back and forth between the hero and the villain, it makes it for an even better film. Batman and Joker have plenty of conversations in the movie. And especially at the very end when they're kind of like discussing, Joker's plan of like anarchy and whatnot, and how Joker's basically telling him to his face like, we're not so different. Like, it's a really great kind of back and forth sequence at the very end that really kind of solidifies this weirdo relationship that they share within the comic book. So yeah, Dark Knight is fantastic, and I know for a fact that this is Brian's number 2. Brian, would you like to carry over and talk about The Dark Knight?
Yes, I certainly will. This is my number 2 indeed. The Dark Knight it's one of the best films ever made. It's, we've talked about this movie so many times on this show. What else can you say? The Dark Knight is, I'm not mad when people say it's the best superhero film ever made. I'm not, because it really did change the game. It was more of a drama, more of a character study. Focused more on the characters than the action and the visuals and everything, which is great. And Christopher Nolan, he's the king of filmmaking. Everything he's done is either good or great. In my opinion, everything he's done is solid. I hope Dunkirk's the same way, which I believe it will be. But the Joker, incredible villain. Christian Bale, fantastic as Batman. The score by Hans Zimmer, I agree with you. One of the best scores ever made. Just ever written, excuse me. Hans Zimmer's the king of... He's the fucking man. And, it's dark, it's depressing, it's bleak. There's not many happy moments in this movie. That's a given fact. And yeah, the Joker, you want him to die. But you can't help but love the guy. He's a great villain. Did I ever tell you how I got the scar scene? Fantastic. Heath Ledger, I hate that the guy died. I really hate the guy died because, when Heath Ledger won the Oscar for this movie, it just would have been great to watch him get out on stage and accept the award for the first performance, Oscar-winning performance in a comic book superhero movie. That would have been an amazing experience, not just for, us, but the entire world. It would have been amazing. And it's the best film of the trilogy for sure. And I think this is a perfect trilogy. I love Batman Begins, and I love The Dark Knight Rises. I think this is a perfect trilogy, and The Dark Knight is the pinnacle point of this entire trilogy. It is the second best superhero film in my personal opinion. Superhero sequel, in my opinion. So yeah, The Dark Knight, number 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, we keep bringing this up, but it's true. It's one of the best. And we might sound like a couple of millennials, but when you honestly look at the whole catalog, I'm talking from the 20s up until now, of all the superhero films ever made, there's going to be a lot of modern picks because they just keep getting better and better. And I think The Dark Knight really kind of set that trend to really want filmmakers to make a great superhero film and make it to where you actually care about these mythical creatures. So, The Dark Knight, fantastic. There's really nothing more you can say. My number 2, and I know this is going to be sacrilegious. You guys are going to be throwing, the proverbial tomatoes and vegetables and pitchforks at me when I say this. My number 2, which I guess if you want to look at it as a list, it's better than The Dark Knight. I like Captain America Civil War. I do. When you want to talk about a movie that really kind of brings the emotional intensity to characters that we've been following for years, on top of all that, upping the action, upping the drama, upping the relationships from these characters, like I said, that we've grown up to love, to see them turn on each other and hate each other, it makes for some pretty powerful stuff. And I know I'm probably overblowing it because it's a Marvel film. Yeah, I get it. But it's an epically told story that never felt like it was too much. All the characters had their moment to shine. It was all well balanced. And at the core of it, because it is called Captain America is the standout. This is a guy who in the sequel saw everything burn to the ground in front of him, who is lost in society, and has this guy who's been his friend for years turn his back on him. So he's got no one to look to except for Bucky, who is brainwashed. So he's got no one to look to, no one to ask for help. He is alone. And when you have this film to where he is basically standing his ground, going against what he thinks is right, and having Tony see the opposite side and be like, whoa, what we're doing, we need to have precautions on us. It's one of the best throwdowns I've seen in this genre as a whole. And of course the airport scene is absolutely divine. I love it. It's so much fun to watch. But I actually like the end battle more than the airport battle, because the end battle actually has like some really good stakes going on, to where a lot of stuff has been revealed about Tony's past and Bucky's past and Captain America's past, to where there's a lot of emotions riding on this fight, to where people want to kill each other. Once again, these are the same people who back in the first original Avengers were buddies. They were comrades. They were going into the heat of battle to fight side by side to get to this point and see them turn on each other in a very natural, organic way, and not something that felt forced or like, Marvel's like, well, we gotta pit them against each other. No, it actually makes sense through the whole epic storyline that they are playing out for this franchise. This is one of the best franchises I've ever seen in my life. In a couple years, I'll be 30. And I cannot believe that, like, when the first Iron Man came out when I was 18, I never thought it would grow to this point. I never thought it would grow to something like a Captain America Civil War, where you actually care about these people. These mythical beings. This fucking buff dude that wears a blue spandex suit. You never thought you'd care. But you do. And that's what's so great about Captain America Civil War. I agree with Brian. It's the best thing that Marvel has done so far. And it is the best of the Captain America trilogy. I think it's better than the Avengers films. And I actually like both Avengers. Yes, I said that correctly. I like the sequel. I actually think it's better than the first one. But Captain America Civil War is the pinnacle of what they've done so far. And until they reach, Thor Ragnarok, or, Black Panther looks really great, or even Avengers Infinity War, Captain America Civil War will be the standard for me now. And I like Doctor Strange. I think it's a good movie. But when you're following past Captain America Civil War, you better fucking bring your A game, because it sure as hell did. And that's why Doctor Strange looked a little subpar, is because Captain America Civil War was just so goddamn awesome. So that is... Brian already touched upon it. So we're going to go ahead and just jump into our number one. I'm going to give Brian a signal, and if he gives me the nod, then that means I got it correct. Brian, does your movie start with this?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to give the preface by saying this. Are we prematurely blowing our load on our number one pick because we just recently saw it? Possibly. But what I can tell you is this, and I hope the Academy is listening. I don't think you are, because we're not that big yet. But if you are listening, I expect to see, unless other performances are, great throughout the year and it's a packed house. I get it. You gotta, move aside for better performances. But as of right now, which, by the way, we are almost halfway through the year. In 3 weeks, we will be halfway through the year. As of right now, our favorite one, which I hope it gets nominated for a bunch of Oscars this coming year, it's got to be Logan. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, this movie just came out. How could you put it on that high of a pedestal? I've seen the movie twice. And the second time, I was more emotionally invested more than the first time. And the first time, I was experiencing everything just all out there in front of me for the first time. When you know what's going to happen, you still get invested. That, to me, tells me that they have made a classic in the making. I cannot wait to see the black and white version. I can't wait to buy this on Blu-ray. I can't wait to watch it a million times, because it will never get old to me. This, I believe, across all boards, DC, Marvel, Warner Bros., Universal, whatever, 20th Century Fox has, I believe, made the best superhero sequel ever made so far. I could have easily gone with X-Men 2. Could have easily gone with Days of Future Past. But the reason why Logan is our number one, and I think Brian feels the same way, is that when you look at when the first X-Men came out in the year 2000, I was 10 years old. I was a mere chubby little fat kid. Now I'm just kind of grown up, chubby fat kid. When you watch that first one, you have no idea where this franchise is going to go. And you have no idea how powerful the Wolverine character will be throughout all films. And so when you get to this point 17 years later and you realize that you're actually more invested than you previously thought you were, it just makes for one hell of a ride. From start to finish, this is a roller coaster. Whether it be in action, performances, or emotion, this film takes you on a journey. It takes you on this journey for the end of the road for these characters that you've grown up to love. And that includes Wolverine and Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier. And it really just kind of puts it in perspective that these characters are coming to an end. This is the end of an era, and this film really kind of delivers that in such a graceful way, in a very brutal way, a very humorous way, but also very poignant and very emotionally powerful, to where you're like, wow, they fucking got this in a superhero film. And not only that, it feels very grounded, because Wolverine is, he's just basically claws and whatnot, so he looks like a normal dude. There's not like, some weird deformity on him, on the outside appearance. Yes, inside deformities, but outside he looks like a normal dude. Patrick Stewart's Xavier looks like a old guy with, Parkinson's or, Alzheimer's or whatever. Like they look like normal people, and so it has like that grounded kind of feel. So when the violence happens, it feels a lot more brutal and visceral. I love the fact that it's an R rating. It's just absolutely perfect. I gave it an A+. I still stand by it. I do have like some minor nitpicks, but it's not enough to move where I go, well, it's got to be 2 grades down from it. No, not fam. It's a perfect Wolverine movie. It's a perfect representation for this character. I don't even think 20th Century Fox is going to top their own movie. Like, this is it for them. Like, I would be surprised if they top something like this, but Logan. 2 months, Brian. 2 months this movie's been out. And can you just, I want you to sell it as well. Why are we crazy to put a film that's literally hasn't even been out for a quarter of a year yet? Why is this our number one?
Because this isn't a superhero film. This is not a superhero film. And yes, it's marketed as one. Excuse me. Hold on.
Oh, well, fuck. I had the whole ramp up there. I passed it on to you. I passed the baton. You were supposed to, like, carry the amazing speech that we were going to bring together to let people know that Logan is a masterpiece.
I'm about to get back into that. These fucking headphones are a piece of shit. Any Hooters. Okay. This is not a superhero film. Straight up film. This is a film. This is not a movie. This is a film. This is a filmmaker's movie. Filmmaker's film, excuse me. James Mangold, I agree with you, Chase. I hope this film gets a lot of Oscar nominations, award recognitions. The 2 big ones to me are Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart.
Yes,
because
yes.
Hugh Jackman's already an Oscar nominee, which is great. That's a great thing. He got nominated for Les Miserables as Jean Valjean, if you're nasty. Patrick Stewart needs to get a nomination for this, and I'm honestly one of the few people in the world that said that he should have been nominated last year for Green Room because he was so fucking incredible. That I don't know how you feel if he should have gotten some for that, but that's a different discussion. For me, these are 2 of the best performances I've seen in the last 5 to 10 years. Logan in this movie is broken. He's tired. He's drunk. He's a fucking wreck. He is broken. He has gone through the worst of the worst. He's been around for 200 years, maybe longer. So that's 2 centuries. That's a long fucking time. And the fact that he's starting to lose his abilities and he doesn't know what the fuck's going to happen. The scene with him and Laura outside the clinic, to me, is the best acted scene so far of this year, by a male actor. Hugh Jackman, that if he gets nominated for an Oscar, and there's plenty of scenes you could choose, but to me, that is the scene that I would love for them to choose or to put in when they say, here are the nominees for Best Actor. Like, I want them to do that. Now, with Patrick Stewart on the other hand, there's plenty of scenes, not going to spoil anything, but, you know.
The bed scene.
The
fucking bed scene. It kills me. That scene, and when they're in the hotel, and he didn't know what he did to people, and he's like very confused.
Yeah, then he says, I'm sorry at the end.
Oh, stop it. Stop. I'm about to fucking cry. I broke down both times when I saw it, because I was like, this is a guy experiencing Alzheimer's. He doesn't know what's happening. Like, he doesn't know that he's hurting people, and that's what kind of kills me, is that he doesn't even know what he's doing. Like, God, it gets you every time. It's wonderful.
It does. It is absolutely wonderful. And, you know, the action sequences are great, but for the most part, this is a family drama. Like, a lot of people complain about the sequence where they're at the farm and everything. And you know what? I understand. I totally get why people would complain about that, but that is real. That's real life. People gathering around, eating the dinner, eating chicken pot pie or whatever the fuck they were eating, and going around the farm and going to hardware stores and stuff. That felt real. It felt genuine. I've never seen that in a superhero movie. And The Dark Knight may be more realistic compared to most superhero films, but it's because Logan. Because Logan was a realistic film. And, you know, yes, it just came out 2 months ago. But the reason why we're praising it so much is because of what we're both saying. It felt real. It was genuine. It was heartbreaking. The movie was absolutely devastating. It was not the happiest movie. And when the movie ended, I applauded, but at the same time, I was bawling. I was like, you motherfucker. But it was so goddamn fantastic. I couldn't have been more impressed with the movie. It, to me, is the best superhero sequel so far. And it's crazy because at first, I didn't know if I was going to put this as my number one. But in the end, I decided to do it because I have more emotional impact with this than I do with The Dark Knight. And The Dark Knight came out 9 years ago. This movie just came out 2 months ago. That's insane. So yeah, Logan's the best superhero sequel ever made, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I kind of did what Brian did, where it was the emotional intensity that kind of dictated my list. Now, The Dark Knight, as much as I like it, it's not like an emotionally investive movie.
It's not.
It's a really well done movie, and you get where the Joker is coming from. You understand Batman and his motives. Like, you understand all that, but you never felt the impact. That's why I put Civil War on top of that, because that ending scene with Tony was worth it already to put it on top of that. And then, of course, Logan. I mean, I don't know how else I can explain it to you guys. Unless, if you're not like emotionally invested in the X-Men films, you might not like Logan as much. I get that. But I grew up on this franchise. I still remember when I was 12 years old and I saw X2, X-Men United, in the theater, and I was like, wow, what a great fucking film. And like, I can't believe I've been following Hugh Jackman for 17 years on this character. To see the way Logan was portrayed and just the way it ended, it was perfect. It was such a great swan song, little bow on the Wolverine gift. It was beautiful. It was so good, and I really hope Patrick Stewart gets nominated for supporting actor. But my God, that's some of the best work I've seen him do. Period. It's absolutely wonderful. It's so fragile. And you feel so bad for him, and like he's just getting older, and like you know people like that, and I think that's what really kind of affects you the most. It's so good, and so I just want people to know that, like, you know, we're not just fanboying out. We have our reasons as to why we like this movie so much, and I think it's justified. Unless something can come along, I don't think so. I think that one's going to kind of hold the test of time for a while. So it's really great that you know, the X-Men universe has got its ups and downs for sure, but Logan definitely ended a strong note on these two characters and kind of ended that storyline. So, yeah. So that's our list, guys. But what about you? What are some of your favorite superhero sequels? Let me know down below, and I will get back at you, because I like to hear you guys' list. So here's our list. Going from Brian, 5 to 1. Batman Returns, Captain America Winter Soldier, Spider-Man 2 The Dark Knight, and Logan. And for my top 5, from 5 to 1, Kick-Ass 2, Spider-Man 2, Dark Knight, Captain America Civil War, and Logan. All right, so speaking of X-Men films, honorable mentions. I will say that I do like X-Men 2, X-Men United. That's probably my third favorite. Then I do like Days of Future Past. X-Men First Class is amazing. I actually really like the Wolverine. I know, weird, right? Blade 2, I really like that one. That's a really great, fun sequel. Speaking of Guillermo del Toro, I really love Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. That's a really great sequel as well. Iron Man 2 is not bad, but I wouldn't put it in the bad category. I'll just say it's passable. Batman Returns, Dark Knight Rises, and I'm actually changing my tune on this because I don't know if Brian's been watching my videos since 2013, but when I originally reviewed Iron Man 3, I did not like it whatsoever. I'm changing my tune on it. I actually kind of dig it, and I don't mind the twist now. It's just kind of like one of those things where, like, I think it's because I saw that Marvel one-shot where, like, they revealed that the real Mandarin's out there. So I think that when you course correct like that and you rewatch, you're like, okay, that was just a fun addition to Iron Man. Let's see. I like Thor: The Dark World. I don't think it's terrible, but it's passable. Captain America 2, Days of Future Past, Avengers: Age of Ultron, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice's Ultimate Cut. That's right, I fucking said it. And X-Men Apocalypse. For all you haters out there, I think X-Men Apocalypse was fucking dope. I don't know what else to say. So, Brian, what about you? What are some of the honorable mentions?
Let's see. Blade 2, X2. Spider-Man 3, like I said earlier, sue me. Hellboy 2, fantastic. Iron Man 2, I agree with you. Not bad at all. First Class, incredible. Dark Knight Rises, great. Iron Man 3, good. I like it a lot. I like the Wolverine. I thought the second Thor was okay, but it's better than Alan Taylor's film that he did after that, the Terminator Genesis. What else is there? Days of Future Past, incredible. I don't love Age of Ultron. I was let down with it, but I still think it's a good movie. I still think it's good, but it just wasn't to me on the same level as the first, and that's just my opinion. No, Deadpool does not count. I don't know if it counts. I didn't hate BVS, the original cut. I still have not gotten around to watching the Ultimate Edition, and I don't know why. I'm so lazy. I hate myself for it. I'm sure I'm going to love it. And I have to agree with you, Chase. X-Men Apocalypse was really fucking good. It was really fucking good. I liked it a lot, too. So I saw it twice, and I thought it was good both times. So, yeah.
Yeah, I still stand by my rating. I gave it an A-. I still stand by that. I think it's a really good addition to the X-Men films. I think people just kind of downplayed it a little bit because they came off of Days of Future Past like, oh my god, that was amazing.
Well, yeah.
But I mean,
it wasn't as good as Days of Future Past, but it was still really fucking good.
Yeah, it's great. So, yeah. And then, okay, dishonorable mentions.
Oof.
Of course, you got to bring up good old X-Men: The Last Stand. Now, I rewatched it before I saw Logan, and it's actually not terrible, but there's so many bad parts to it to where I can't really bring it to the okay level. So it's kind of like it's in that weird limbo zone. Batman Returns, or sorry, not Returns. Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. That was a PG film, by the way. P-fucking-G.
Stupid decision.
However, the worst thing. Worst superhero
I already
sequel.
know. I already know what he's gonna say.
Oh my fucking god! How do you take all this beautiful talent and flush it down the toilet and see that beautiful that turd that was created so we could flush it down? Amazing Spider-Man 2. That is atrocious. It is an atrocious film. I still stand by, like, from what I said, 3 years ago. I stood up and looked at my friends and I was like, that was terrible. And they're like, it wasn't bad. And I was like, what? So we had to sit down and like we fucking ordered a pizza and we were drinking. And I was like, guys, I'm gonna map this out for you. I'm gonna tell you why everything was terrible about it. It was so jumbled. There was like 5 movies going on all at once. You have so many wasted parts, like the Rhino, Paul Giamatti. What was he doing? Dane DeHaan was a fucking waste. The only good part about that movie was the relationship between him and Gwen Stacy. That's not even Spider-Man. That's fucking Peter Parker. And it's like, yeah, that's important, but you go there to see some great like Spider-Man stuff, and even that was fucking botched. And it's just what a waste of a movie. And no wonder, because they had to fucking reboot it. So it's like that movie killed Andrew Garfield's chance at doing a third one. Like, god damn it, that movie's no. Fuck. Every time when I go to a movie trading company, which I love that place. I look around and I see what kind of movies I want to get, right? They always have The Amazing Spider-Man 2, the Blu-ray 3D, Blu-ray, DVD, and digital copy version for like $5 because they're trying to get rid of it. They know it's terrible, and they're like, "Oh, someone please buy this." We're like, no, I don't want to buy that. I'd rather go like spend it on like food or something, like something to live. So, Amazing Spider-Man 2, absolutely terrible, and that soundtrack. I don't know what the hell Hans Zimmer was smoking, but when he let Pharrell or whoever the fuck was in there with him do that weirdo techno song of when you guys remember when Jamie Foxx and Spider-Man were fighting in the electrical power plant or whatever. Oh, they were fighting to the beat of a song. No, just fucking no. You stop yourself, Sony. I know what you're doing. Brian, which ones do you dislike?
Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, X-Men 3, the Blade Trinity.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. That was pretty bad.
Superman Returns.
Yeah.
Ghost Rider 2.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, I don't hate Kick-Ass 2, but it let me down, so it's a dishonorable mention. It's not the worst thing ever, but it's Rise of the Silver Surfer, absolutely, but yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the worst. Absolutely sucks. I don't know what drug I was on when I saw the movie. Apparently, I was like, whatever. It was okay. It was okay, whatever. But somehow, when I tried to rewatch it, when it came on like HBO or Starz or Netflix or whatever it came on, I was watching it and I'm just like, what? Huh? What am I doing? Like, what? I don't get what made me think that movie wasn't terrible. And then I watched it and it was terrible. I felt so bad for everybody. I felt bad for Mark Webb. I felt bad for the actors. I felt bad. I thought the first one was not bad. I thought the first Amazing Spider-Man was actually a decent movie.
It was
but
fine.
Then the sequel, yeah, exactly, it was fine. But the sequel comes out and it sucks.
You know what the problem was? I still remember this to this day. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out the same year as Captain America: Winter Soldier and X-Men: Days of Future Past. So when you're following that, you have to live up because Captain America: Winter Soldier came out first, then it was X-Men, and then I believe Spider-Man came out after that. Now, if you want to look at the marketing campaigns between all three of those movies, Captain America had like a couple trailers, X-Men had a couple trailers, and the intrigue was there. People wanted to see these movies. They were getting excited, and when they were great, they were like, oh my god, Spider-Man 2, woo, can't wait for this shit. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, I still remember this, had 5 trailers, like 20 TV spots. They even released the first 10 minutes online, I believe, or it was like the equivalent of like grabbing all the trailers and putting it together for the first like 10, 15 minutes of the film. There was so much marketing and so much footage that Sony just blew their load all over the internet and was like, well, we hope you still go see it. That was a sign right there that should have told us that, like, oh, they're hiding this terrible movie. I still remember when they released like a 5-minute trailer of that thing. That should have been a red flag, but whatever, we're dumb. So, yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 2, no fucking thank you.
Yeah, what the fuck? I don't get why you have to excessively market the movie if people were going to go see it to begin with. It made money. It has Spider-Man in it, so I don't know why you'd be like, oh, let's throw out like 25 trailers. Don't do that. First of all, that's not good at all. Second, you're going to spoil the whole fucking movie. And then, people are gonna be like, okay, we get it. It's coming out. Like, you don't need to release 20 trailers. That's not smart.
Yeah, I mean,
it's smart.
It's Spider-Man.
Like, how many trailers have we gotten for Homecoming so far? 2. How many TV spots have we gotten? Like 1.
Maybe
we barely
one.
got.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, when was the first Spider-Man? Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out in May, and I think the first trailer came out like November. So, and then they released that's like 6 months. They released like so much footage within those 6 months, and that's insane. That's stupid.
Yes, because Sony realized they had a shitstorm on their hands. So I'm glad they're taking notes, and I'm glad that Marvel's stepping in for Homecoming, going, don't market it as much. So, I'm glad that Homecoming's only got a couple trailers out and whatnot. And hey, it's still intriguing because I still have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, I have a basic idea, but you guys know what I mean. So that will do it for this week's episode of Superhero Sequels on the Top 5 Saturdays Live podcast. Brian, what are we doing next week?
Next week, the highly anticipated Snatch comes out. Not kidding. It's very highly anticipated. We are doing our top 5 female-led comedies.
Yeah, this should be interesting. I'm seeing Snatched on next Tuesday. God help me. I really have to think about it because I know there's some really great ones out there. I just need to sit down and construct my list or whatnot. But yeah, I'm excited to kind of dive into this and not talk about the Hangovers or the American Pies as much. I love this film. And really kind of bring out some films to light, where the females are leading and they are carrying the movie and whatnot, because those aren't really made that much nowadays, and it's kind of upsetting. Some people are very misogynistic or whatever and whatnot. It's kind of like that you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't type of deal. Because when Ghostbusters came out last year, I mean, I was still curious about the movie because I like the director involved, I like the cast, and the movie was a C at best. And it wasn't because it was women; it was because it was just a whatever movie. So I just really hope in the future more movies are being made with female led characters and with comedies, dramas, what have you, and really kind of expand that and not have them in shit movies like Ghostbusters. So yeah, I'm really excited. So Brian, before we plug your stuff, or what are your brief thoughts on kind of a segue for next week?
Well, I'm excited to do this list because I love whenever I could see bright future for female comedic actors and female comedians, and I hate the way people look at women female-led movies nowadays. It fucking sucks. It's disgraceful for me as a film fan and as a person in general, and we don't have many movies that get praised that are directed by females, and it makes me sad. But with these female-led comedies, it shows not only men can be funny, women can be funny too. So yeah, I'm really excited to do this list, even though, as bad as Snatched looks, it's nice to know that we're starting to get more female-led comedies. That's the thing. As bad as that movie looks, we're getting so many female-led comedies. It's great. I think it's great.
Yeah, and speaking of female-led comedies, I really like Trainwreck, and that was a recent one.
So do I.
Yeah, so they're out there for sure. It's just people need to give them a chance and not just crap on them when they see a trailer. But of course, Ghostbusters was a weird scenario because the trailer looked bad. I was still curious about it, but yeah, it was just a bad whirlwind of shit. So yeah, that will be next week, guys. Brian, where can the people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at FilmJunkieBrian and on YouTube at Brian Suffield.
That's right, and you can find me on Twitter at RealChaseLee. Subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get updates on when we, put these things up and whatnot. And Brian and I both have podcasts. Please subscribe to everything down below in the description box. Yes, we'll see you guys next week for another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live. I'm Chase Lee.
And I'm Brian Suffield.
And hopefully I'm better next week and I won't be off and all over the place. So, because I felt a little off this episode. I apologize, guys. It's been a rough week. Reality, it sucks. Bye-bye.